Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Monday, and all of our guests today, including Elliotte Friedman, standing by. Is he standing by, Ryan? You got him? Okay. Our thanks to Elliotte. All guests, including Elliotte, sponsored by Passant Motors. This November, say no. Say no to the GST, Rick, when purchasing a new-to-you vehicle from Passant Motors. Learn more at BASANT Motors, PassantMotors.com. Joining us from Hockey Night in Canada in the 32 Thoughts podcast, Elliotte Friedman. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
You got. It sounds like you need some tea or something like that today.
Oh, I've got some. Yes, right here.
Too much cheering at the Grey Cup last night.
Maybe, or maybe all weekend long at Grey Cup festivities.
I know you were cheering for the Argos. I know how much you love the Argos.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know what? I will say this though: lopsided result. It was better that it was the Argos who did that than Winnipeg, because everybody expected Winnipeg to do that. That was unexpected yesterday. No question about it.
Good finish for the Argo fans.
Yep. Let's stay in Toronto, okay? And you know I love doing that. 5 games for Ryan Reeves. Does that sound about right?
That's what I expected. I thought it would be. I really thought it would be more than Jeannot on Besser. I thought it was a worse hit than Jeannot on Besser. And also, Reeves has a history, right? He's been penalized once before for hitting to the head. So the way they do it is they say, okay, is this a suspension? Yes. And then they say, okay, what's your history? And because Reeves had the history, I thought it was going to be more severe. To me, the only question was, Don, was he going to get an in-person hearing? And to suspend for at least 6, you have to have an in-person hearing. So when I saw that it wasn't in person, I thought 5 was what he was going to get, for sure.
I believe you've been all over this story, Elliotte, but there's talk of the NHL salary cap increasing by as much as $7 to $9 million in the relatively near future. Is the rebound from COVID, has it been stronger than expected, Elliotte?
Yeah, I think it has been. Like the league's been very fortunate. The revenues have been very good. One of the issues that I think everybody's worried about a little bit is not so much in Canada, but in the States, the local television deals. Like a lot of these teams, like Anaheim's done it, Vegas has done it, Seattle's doing it, Dallas has done it, where they've kind of branched out on their own. But it's not insignificant money, but it's not the biggest piece of the pie that the NHL has to worry about. There are other things that have gone very well that have kept them way ahead of that pace. Like Don, you remember, you go back to 4.5 years ago, when COVID hit. We had no idea what the world was going to look like. And for a gate-driven league, the NHL was facing disaster. And so were some of the other leagues. And but they've been very fortunate. The revenues have been very good. The TV revenues, the other revenues around the league have been very good. And now you've got a situation where, they kind of, basically the easiest way to explain it is, it's supposed to be 50-50 revenue split between the league and the players. But because of what happened during COVID, they had to change the CBA a bit for a few years. And if it was still that way, 50-50, the cap would be around $100 million right now. But it isn't. And, the one thing, Don, they know is in 2 years under the new CBA, when it's supposed to go back to that formula, cap's going to take a big jump. So the question is, do you want to go to 92.5 next year where it's supposed to go and then have a jump that could be in the neighborhood of $15 million? Or do you want to smooth it out a bit? And if the players are happy about this and they are happy about the idea, maybe you get the CBA done early. So I know there's some people, how it goes, Don. You put it out there and then more people start to call you. I do think there is going to be a conversation about the cap going around 97 next year.
All right, Elliotte, this is Vancouver. After a performance like last night, it gets hot and heavy here. What do you make of the Canucks? There's a lot of concern out here, Elliotte. I mean, this is not the same team after 17 games that it was after 17 games last year.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to overreact to things, Rick. I really do. I think obviously more has been asked of Lankinen and Shelovs that was expected, and so we still got to wait to see how this Demko situation sorts itself out. And every time I come on, you ask me for a timeline. I hate timelines on this. I just don't think it's linear. The one thing I don't get, the one thing I always watch out for is there panic? And I don't sense there's panic. I don't think the Canucks like what's going on very much. I mean, you can read it on Tocchet's face and hear what he has to say, but I don't think there's out and out panic. I do think they are going to look. I mean, I think they're going to address defense for a while. They're going to address defense at some point. It's just a matter of when. A couple of the guys, like Hughes has been really good, but some of the people around him haven't been as good as they can be. There's that issue. Pettersson started slowly. He's really started to come on. I saw where Miller got benched last night. To me, the team, a lot of problems could be solved by a lot of people playing better. And I just think that that's the way the Canucks look at it. We can solve a lot of problems if a lot of guys start to play better. I think the question becomes, how long do they wait? Rutherford's a guy who likes to get the jump on the deadline. He likes to move quickly. He's definitely looking around. But I don't get the sense they're panicking yet. I think they're impatient. I think they're a little bit annoyed. I think they want to see some guys play better, but I don't think they're panicking.
Do you have any sort of update, Elliotte, on Brock Besser?
No, again, because I think it's kind of like a head whiplash thing. Like, these things they also aren't linear. You just have to wait until he feels okay. The one thing that Canucks have been very comfortable with this year, and even though, for all the angst going around about how poorly they've played, they're in a good spot. Their record is good. The one thing that they've shown this year is they are not going to rush guys back. Mm-hmm. They're going to let people take their time, and they're going to let people sort it out. They've done it with Demko, and they're doing it with Besser. And just the one thing that I've been told is that when you have that kind of they haven't really said what it is, but that concussion-esque, whiplash-esque kind of thing, you have to let it play out. And even if so I don't even expect when he starts skating, you're probably looking at a week or two from there. And as far as we know, he's not even skating. So I don't see it as being anything immediate.
Can I get back to the trades? What's the market like around the NHL right now? Elliotte, are you sensing things are picking up?
I think they are picking up a little bit. That was my son saying hello to you guys.
Thank you.
Great, regular viewer.
Yeah, thanks.
We're about to go. To a movie. I think this. I think the team you played last night, Nashville.
Yep.
I think they really want to do some stuff, but it's hard. They're looking for a high-level center, and they're looking for a D, and especially a kind of top four player, and those are hard things to find. I think there's a lot of talk out there, but I don't know how much action there actually is. I think you guys talk a lot. I think Nashville's been talking quite a bit. I think Chicago, you saw Chicago the other night, they are really trying. You could see Bedard's frustration at the end of the game. I think they're trying to find some help for him, but these things are hard to find, and teams are really tight to the cap. So I think there's a lot of talk. I just don't know how actionable it is right now.
And one more, Elliotte, if you don't mind. You got a movie to catch
I don't mind.
here.
No, I'm all good. He knows it's business before pleasure, right, Don? We teach our kids properly.
Yeah. Kirill Kaprizov and the Minnesota Wild. Should we be paying more attention to them? 11-3-3.
Well, first of all, I think that yes. I mean, I think the guy is a heck of a player. I think Minnesota has really shown this year they're off to a great start. I think he's going to become one of the highest paid players in the league, Don. I really do. I think he's going to be up in the Matthews-Draisaitl range, and if the cap goes up, Minnesota's got that big penalty coming off their cap this year. If the cap goes up, they can pay him more than anybody else, and they're prepared to do it. I was looking at it earlier this year, Don. He's never had a lot of Hart Trophy votes, and I think that's going to change this season. I'm surprised you haven't asked me about Miller. I figured you guys would be all over that.
Well, go for it.
Go for it.
You mentioned it earlier, but benched last night. Just your opinion of that, and how do you think he's going to react, and what else are you hearing about it?
Well, I think the thing is, like the one thing I think about Miller is I think the Canucks feel, and I think it's true, that number one, he's a player that can handle it. I'm not surprised that he'd get benched before some other guys would, because I think he can handle it. Number two, I think they feel that he's probably a little bit better when he's a bit pissed off and mad at the world, and that will piss him off and that will make him mad at the world. Number three, I think he's banged up a bit. I don't think that's a question. But like the one thing I really think about Miller is I get the sense that a guy like him, the Canucks think that rattling his cage once in a while is a good thing. Like there's some players that don't handle that very well. There's some players that can shut down when that handles to him. He's not that guy. And I think the other thing too about that is Tocchet knows that when Miller gets benched, it's not only gets his attention, it kind of gets other people's attention.
Yeah.
And so I think like you can see Tocchet, he's getting, like we talked before, he's had enough of the way this team has started the year. And to me, like you can always when you can always change guys at the bottom of your lineup. You can always bench guys on the fourth line or the third pair. But where you really get attention is when you bench the stars. And I'm not surprised in the least that Miller would get that treatment first, because they think he can handle it and they think it works with him.
What movie are you going to go see?
Yeah, tell us the movie.
We're going to go see Evil Robot, I think it's called.
Evil Robot.
Or Wild Robot.
Oh, Wild Robot.
Yeah.
Wild Robot, Evil Robot.
Come on, Elliotte. Get the movie right.
The Evil Robot. I wanted to take, you know what I wanted to do? I really want to see that new Alien movie. I'm big into the aliens. Yeah. Like those movies. But I was the boss said you're not taking him yet.
A little too much for him. It's a good idea. My boy came back from Smile 2, and he said, I'm never seeing another horror movie again in my life. It was way too much for him.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, Long Legs. I watched Long Legs online, and it is fantastic. I would recommend Long Legs to anybody.
Yeah. Rick saw a movie called Long Legs. It probably wasn't the same one you saw.
I thought you were describing I thought you were describing the streaker at the Grey Cup game there with long legs.
Yeah, that wasn't Long Legs. That was something else. I have to say though, this question violates Rogers' standards and practices. I better not answer it.
Good idea, Elliotte. Above and beyond. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Take care.